This video will help you get started doing division with two-digit divisors. This is going to look kind of weird at first. I'm going to go ahead and flip my paper sideways. But on this one, I'm going to go ahead and just do 3 long sections, okay? With your long division problems, sometimes they're going to run into that half part of the page, so I want to go ahead and split it up. So I'm going to start this by showing you an example and do 18 going into, or 783 divided by 18. So I want to see how many times 18 can go into 783. A lot of you guys are going to put the brakes on right now because of this 18. This is why we did the estimating lesson on Monday, because I need you to shift your thinking and do some guesstimates. This is a made-up word. I made it up. Guesstimates are just what it sounds like. You're going to have a section of your paper. I like to use this bottom part to put all your guesstimates at, and that way you've got that to help you get through the problem. We're going to look at this 18 and think about this 18 as a 20. We don't turn it into a 20. I have a lot of kids do that over the years. We're just going to think about it. It's pretty close to 20. So if it's close to 20, it's going to go into 78 how many times? Well, 78 is really close to 80. So I'm already thinking in my head, 4 times 20 is 80. That might work. That's why we need our guesstimates. So your guesstimates are what you think might be a good option when you're thinking about what your problem could be. So I'm going to do 18 times 4 down here. 8 times 4 is 32, and what do you know? I get 72, and it works. A lot of times I have kids scribble out these problems every time they do it. Don't do that. If you did 18 times 3 or 18 times 5, leave it, because it might help you with another part of your problem. So I'm going to leave that 18 times 4 in my guesstimates area. It's basically scratch paper on your page to go with your problem, and you're just organizing it so you can use it for the rest of the problem. So 18 can't go into 7, so I'm not putting anything there. 18 times 4, I just did it, 72. I subtract 8 minus 2 is 6, and I bring down the 3. Well, if I know 18 times 4 is 72, and 63 is right there, the next obvious choice would be 18 times 3. 8 times 3 is 24. 3 times 1 plus 2 is 54. Now, this is when I have a lot of kids say, well, that's not close enough to that. But look at these two numbers. You've got 3 and 4. You can't go anywhere in between. Sometimes your numbers are not going to be right next to it, and that's because your remainder can be anything up to 17. So I'm going to do 63 minus 54. Go ahead and borrow. 13 minus 4 is 9, and this is my remainder that comes up to the top, and I get 43 remainder 9. I'm going to show you one more before I have you work on your own. I'm going to do this problem, 573 divided by 14. Well, 14 is not really close to 20, but I can double 15 and get 30, and then add another 15 and get 45. Adding 15s isn't that hard, so I'm already thinking 15s right here. If I want to see how many times 15 can go into 60, I'm already thinking 4. I might be right, I might be wrong, but that's where this little section at the bottom is. Usually my former students would just put a question mark for their guesstimates because They didn't want to write that out, and I don't blame them. But this is just your scratch area. So we're going to do 14 times 4 and see what that gets us. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 1 plus 4 is 56. What do you know? It's right next there. So we're not going to put anything in the first column because that's going to throw everything off. 4 times 14 is 56. I just looked at it in my guesstimates. And I'm using this. I subtract, and I get 13 here. This is where I see a lot of things go wrong. 13 divided by 14. If I have 13 cookies, I can't give it to 14 people. This needs to be a 0. The 0 problems are the ones that throw you guys off. Make sure you're putting a 0 there, and whatever's left comes up to the top, and it's a remainder of 13. I'm going to give you 3 problems to write down, and I want you guys to pause the video, work through them, and then play them back and see how you do. This first problem is 1,359 divided by 45. Let me go ahead and flip my page over. Make some more lines. I'm going to do $4,722 divided by 22. And then I'm going to do 723 divided by 31. So I'm already looking at this thinking 31's really close to 30. 22 is really close to 20. So you're going to have to do these guesstimates and try to figure out how many times 45 can go into 135. So pause and then come back, play it the rest of the way through, and we'll see how you do. I'm going to work through this problem first. So 45 can't go into 1, can't go into 13. Nothing goes in those first 2 spots. If I'm looking at 50 and 135, well, I know 50 can go into 102 times, but this is smaller and this is bigger. So I'm going to do my first guesstimate as 45 times 3 and just see what I get. 5 times 3 is 15. 12 plus 1, what do you know? If I had done 45 times 2, it doesn't matter. This isn't going to be a bad thing. You just know 45 times 2 is 90. You can use it later. So I'm going to put the 3 here and the 135 here. Subtract. I bring down the 9. I obviously have to put a 0 here because 9 divided by 45 isn't going to work. And this goes up to the top and becomes a remainder 9. Flip the page over. On this one, 22 can't go into 4, but it can go into 47 2 times. I know that 2 times 22, if I double it, it's 44. If you want to put it down here in your guesstimate area, you can. But if it's easy mental math that you can do on your own, do it. 47 minus 44 is 3, and I bring down the 2. 32 divided by 22, it's going to be 1 time. And I get 10. Now I'm going to bring down this 2. And I'm doing 122 divided by 22. Well, I know 20 can go into 105 times, but this 2 is going to make it too big. So I'm going to try 22 times 4 down here. Again, I know it's 88, but if you want to write it down here in your little guesstimate land, So you've got all your stuff separate, that's fine as well. I'm gonna put my 4 here, 88 here. I'm gonna subtract. I like boxing this 10 and making it a 9 when I've got them side by side. 12 minus 8 is 4, 9 minus 8 is 14, or I'm sorry, 1. And I have 14 as a remainder. A lot of kids will say, well, I can't have a remainder that big. Your remainder can be up to 21, so don't think that. When you have bigger divisors, this 31 here, I could have a remainder up to 30. So let's do this last one. I'm not going to put anything here. 2 times 31 is 62. I subtract, I get 10, I bring down the 3, and then I have to figure out how many times 31 can go into 103. Well, I know 3 times 3 is 9, so 3 times 30 would be 90. That's going to be my guess. So if I do times 3, I get 93. If you're not sure and you do times 4, you can do this, but you're going to see really fast when your answer's too big for the problem where you need it. I'm going to put a 3 here, 93, subtract, I get a remainder of 10, and I'm done.